Everybody. My name is Lorna Swisher. I'm the Assistant Director of Revitalization for Ohio. And was one webinar for tracking sales for small businesses. This webinar is presented by Heritage Ohio and Merchants Edge. And I'll turn it over to our speaker, Andrea Hoover. Andrea?
Good morning. Thank you, Lorna. Let's just take a couple minutes here. I want to know where everybody is from this morning. Can you just pop something in the chat and tell me what community you're from? And if you're a business owner, what industry your business is, or if you are a downtown director or a friend of downtown, just let me know that, please. I just want to get an idea of where everyone is before we get started here.
Well, how are you today? Yep.
We have Delaware Main Street, Winans. Ooh, yum. I could go for some coffee and chocolate first thing this morning. Um, Wellington, South Lorraine. That's up by Cleveland, right? Ish.
Yep, about 60 miles south of Cleveland.
Okay. Tip City. Tasha, good morning. And I'm not familiar. Where is Wadsworth? I'm not familiar with that one. Delaware. Cool. So we've got a good representation here. So I'm going to share my screen um, so that um, you can kind of follow along with what we're doing here. So let me share, and I have already lost my where it was. So let me go back and try again here. Oh, there it is. There it is. All right. Okay, so does everybody see the screen here that says fix your funnel? And in sharing the screen, I have, oh no, there it is. I was gonna say, I thought I had lost the chat feature, but I've got that back here. So, all right. Well, so we're gonna get started here. And we're going to talk today just about how you can really increase traffic and get ready for a great summer season. Um, There we go. So, a little bit about me. I have been a downtown business owner for 20 years in Tip City, and I didn't set out to be a business owner. It just kind of happened. I discovered a knack for just finding opportunities and being able to seek out needs and fill those needs. And that's something that my husband is also really good at. And so we've been able to kind of lean into some timely opportunities. Through that, I've been in the trenches of retail, hospitality, fitness, e-commerce. And so I understand firsthand a lot of the challenges that small business owners are facing. Um, I live and work in Tip City. I've been here for 20 years. And so small town is kind of in my blood. Um, I fully believe in the value of a downtown district and what that brings to the community as a whole. And that's really what sparked this passion for helping other small businesses and their owners and community directors being able to move from overwhelmed to empowered and doing it in a way that your business can be sustainable and not lead to burnout. Because I've been on the burnout side of things too, and that is not fun. Quick little note about the picture here. I pulled this from my archives. This is from our ribbon cutting Bodega Market, which is our wine shop and deli in downtown Tip City. And those adorable two little kids in the front, this was 2016. Those two kids are preparing for freshman and senior years of high school. And sometimes I'm really excited about that, and sometimes I don't want to talk about it. So I'm sure there are some parents here who can understand those feelings. Um, all right. So what we're going to talk about today, First, I want to start with a big thank you to everyone for taking time out of your schedule this morning. I understand the value of your time. I understand that this probably asked you to come in a little bit earlier today or be people ready a little bit earlier today. And I really appreciate that. And I'm going to do my best to use the minutes that we have together wisely. Just a couple housekeeping notes. Everyone should have your microphones muted just to prevent any background noise from going on here while we're going through the presentation. And if you don't already have a pen, pencil, something to write on handy, go ahead and grab that so that you can take some notes as we're going through. You will have an opportunity at the end to ask questions. You can pop those in the chat box, or we can kind of do round robin. You can unmute yourself and we can talk. I do ask if you're going to type questions in the chat box that you wait till the end so that they don't get lost in any other conversations that are going on. So now the agenda. Whether you're a business owner or someone who supports a downtown district, everything that we're going to cover today can be used to help create a more vibrant and thriving Main Street. So we're going to talk about the customer funnel and the 4 stages of that, followed by 3 broad categories where people can get stuck a little bit. And you see them here: visibility and curb appeal, marketing, and the guest experience. And we'll talk about each of those individually. And then I'll help you narrow down some action steps that you can take this week. And then we're going to wrap up with Q&A time. And as I said, I know your time is valuable, so I'm going to do my best to have this all wrapped up within an hour. And I don't know if you guys can hear it here. My dog is sitting on the other side of my computer and she is whining to go outside. She's usually so quiet in the mornings. So let's talk about the traffic funnel. There are 4 stages to that. And it's the path that people take from not knowing that you exist to becoming a loyal paying customer and a repeat customer. So understanding these stages can really help you figure out where you might be losing people in the process and in your business. So let's walk through each one here. Awareness. This is where someone maybe sees your storefront, they're walking past, or they stumble across your social media page, or they hear about you from a friend, but they don't really know you. So it's just like, walking down Main Street and they look at your window and they think that's a nice window and they keep going. So that's kind of like the introductory piece of it. From there, we move on to interest. And this is where they're starting to lean in a little bit. Maybe they follow you on social media. Maybe they walk by a second time, stop and look in the window a little bit, or they're not quite ready to buy yet, but you've made some kind of impression. So you're on their radar now. After that is the decision stage. And in this one, this is where they're considering making a purchase. They're in your store. Maybe they're browsing your website. Maybe they're asking a friend a little more. Have you tried this place? Have you eaten at this restaurant? Have you shopped here before? They're really piquing that interest a little more. And this is where the easier you can make things for them, whether it's clear pricing, whether it's a helpful staff, or having a product bundle together, making it easier for them to shop, helps them move from that thinking to buying. And the last stage here is action. And this is the sale. The moment that they hand over the credit card or they swipe it, or they press to book an appointment if you're in the service industry. It's super important to remember, though, things don't stop with the action step. That's where your next goal beyond that is to get them to come back and to tell their friends. One thing to note about the funnel, as the shape suggests, there are more people at the top, and it's a smaller and smaller audience as you get to the bottom. So I looked up some statistics so that I could present those here. Did you know only about 2 to 5% of people who discover your business will actually make a purchase unless you are intentionally guiding them through your funnel? So think about that again, and let's do some math. For every 100 people that walk past your door, 95 of them won't make a purchase. Sometimes it's because they're not interested. Sometimes because it's not relevant for them. Sometimes they're just not interested right now. Sometimes it's because we don't give them a clear next step for how to make that purchase, how to become a customer. And that's the point of these next few slides and what we're going to go through. We want to help more of these people become buyers. And I'm going to grab a drink here real quick. All right. So the first one here, the first step, we're going to talk about visual and curb appeal. This is, what does the front of your store say about your business? This is the first impression that you get to make on someone. When they walk or drive by your business, what is it that they see? They're thinking, do I want to go in there? What kind of store is it? Are they open? And if the answers to these questions aren't obvious, there's a good chance that they're going to just keep going on and not stop. So here's a few questions to ask yourself to see what your curb appeal is like. Is your signage clear and visible from a distance? Can they tell the name of your business? Are your hours posted on or by your door so that they can see when you're open? Is there a sign outside that says that you're open? Is the area around your door clean and inviting, especially free of clutter, old flyers? I know that's something that downtown businesses especially struggle with. The number of flyers that we're asked to hang up for different organizations. And in case you need to hear this today, it is okay to tell someone no, that you can't hang their flyer. It is okay to have boundaries and say, you know what, I'm only going to accept and hang flyers that apply to the community as a whole or are from organizations related to the school. It's okay to not hang every flyer that you are given. Your window displays, are they fresh? Are they updated seasonally? Are they free of dust? Is it something that would spark curiosity or showcase a few key items so that just by looking at the window, someone could tell what your business is about? Is your space well lit from the outside, especially in the darker times of the year, the early evenings or on cloudy, overcast days, so that people can still see that there's action going on in the store and you're open? So one thing that you can do for this is take a few minutes and walk past your storefront. Do this going from both directions. Take a look at the door, see it, try to see it from a customer's point of view. After you look at it from your side of the street, go across the street and do the same thing. Is it still noticeable from across the street? Can you see your sign? Can you tell that you're open? Can you see the lights on? All these things are going to help attract more people to your store. Next, let's talk about your digital first impression here. Your digital footprint is more important than a lot of people realize. Did you know that 81% of people use Google to evaluate a business before they ever step inside? I know I'm on that list, especially when it comes to restaurants. I Google things. That's how I tell what other people think. That's how I tell if they're open. Sometimes it's where they are. And 97% of consumers search online to find local businesses. My favorite search that I use all the time, restaurants near me, clothing boutique near me. Everything ends with near me because I want to stay local. And local is kind of an arbitrary word that's different for everyone. But local still means local. I don't want to drive an hour away if I'm searching for something near me. So the stats that I just gave you make it clear, even if you have the best products and services in town, if your Google business profile is out of date or missing, you might as well be invisible. I was having a conversation with someone just a couple weeks ago, and her dad is a business owner in a Columbus suburb, actually. And she asked me what the number one piece of advice is that I would give a business owner. And without even hesitating, I said, claim your Google business profile and make sure it's up to date. And her response was, I don't think he's done that. I said, well, suggest that he does. Like that would be the best thing for him. Have his hours updated, website, um, a way for customer reviews to come in. So, things to check, I just said here. One thing, if you haven't claimed your business profile, I can say, once you do that and Google has your email address, they will email you before every holiday, pretty much every holiday, to make sure that your hours are updated. So I don't even have to think about it. I just get an email that says, hey, are your holiday hours accurate for this coming up? Like I got it last or a couple weeks ago for Memorial Day. Didn't have to update because we're closed on Mondays, but it's very helpful. So that's just one less thing that I have to remember because Google is going to email me and ask me that information. So take a look at your primary social channels as well. You don't have to be on all the channels, but I recommend you pick one and you stick with it. Is it, if it's Instagram or Facebook, is it up to date? Does it look like you haven't been active since Christmas? You'll hear advice all over the place on how often you should post. And here is what I believe. Post as often as you can consistently commit to, as long as it's at least once a month. And I know that contradicts what a lot of people will say, but I said before, I've been on the burnout side of things, and most of my burnout has come from social media. I've had a love-hate relationship with it for many years. I believe it's necessary, but I also believe that shouldn't be the piece of running a business that breaks you. So commit to whatever you can do consistently as long as it's once a month at least. So pop in the comments here before we go on to the next slide. I want to know what kind of grade you would give yourself right now. A, B, C, D, F. And it's okay if you're in the F category because there's always room for improvement. And this is just on showing up regularly, not necessarily your content, not necessarily your engagement, but how solid are you about just showing up? I see C's, B's. We're feeling pretty average. There's an A. Great job. B, B. All right. So we're not doing too bad. I will say one thing. One of our businesses, the restaurant, was really like I would have given us an F 6 months ago, and we had one of our part-time servers approached us and said, hey, I see that we're not consistent on social media, and that's something that I think I'm good at. Can I help with the social media? And I said, yeah, you can, because the problem that we were running into is no one had the time to be consistent. We would all say, oh, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. But the to-do list just gets so long sometimes and it gets pushed to the bottom and pushed to the bottom and then it doesn't get done. So since the server has started doing it, like she's fantastic. She's posting 2 or 3 times a week, great engagement. So if that's an area that you struggle and you have someone on your staff who has a gift for that, take advantage of that gift and let them help you out with it. All right. Next, once someone walks into your store, your goals shift a little bit. Now you're working on building trust with them, creating an experience that makes them want to purchase and want to come back. And so we're going to work on giving them a reason to do that. Even small changes can make a big difference here. Some things to help improve that a little bit. Declutter your counter space. A tidy checkout area feels more calm, more professional. And bonus, if you're decluttered there, that gives you the perfect opportunity to have some easy upsell items, to feature small impulse or add-ons for the purchases. What kind of music are you playing in your store? Does your playlist or the genre reflect the vibe that you want to have in your branding? Does it match the energy of your team and your clientele? And also watch the volume level. I've gone into some stores. I will admit they're not downtown stores. It's when I take my kids to the mall. I can handle it for about 5 minutes. And then, yes, I'm at that age where I have to walk out because it's too loud. You can't even have a conversation, right? Um, So that's really frustrating. Um, Acknowledge everybody who walks in the store. That's a huge one for me. Everybody wants to feel seen, not ignored. Even eye contact and a smile if you're too busy to say hello or something else, just some sort of friendly gesture so that they know I see you. I'm glad you're here. That's really important. And remember, the goal with this is not perfection. It's creating warmth, creating clarity, creating connection. Those are the things that people are going to remember and the things that are going to make them want to come back to your store again. All right, next, asking for the sale or the upsell. When you're posting on social media, are you including a call to action on your posts? Whether it's something's on sale and it's through this weekend, or we only have a limited number of X item, come in and get it before it's gone. One of the biggest missed opportunities I see is not asking for the upsell. The customer's already standing at your counter, they're already purchasing, they're already holding the product ready to pay. And there's nothing wrong with letting them walk away with what they just came in with. And please hear me. The goal with upselling is not at all to be pushy. It's to be helpful. People appreciate suggestions when they feel that it's personalized or it makes sense. Um, One example that I can give, I kind of have a problem with Diet Coke. If it's not around, I'm good not drinking it. But if I go into Bodega, our wine shop, to grab food from the deli or something else, whatever, and one of the girls at the counter, of course, knows me, knows my Diet Coke problem. And she'll look at me and she'll say, "You need a Diet Coke today?" And I'll say, "Of course I do." And she'll get me a Diet Coke. But if she doesn't say that, I won't get the Diet Coke. So that's just one kind of fun little example of how that works. A few ways to do that in other businesses. Accessories that go with clothes, a necklace with a dress or sweater. If someone's buying a gift, do you have greeting cards in the store? Do they need one to go along with their gift? If you have a deli, do they want dessert to go along with that? If you have, and those types of things are all easy to keep close to the counter, right? So that they're easy for somebody to grab. Um, Using urgency in the right way. Um, Using phrases like limited stock, get it before it's gone, um, gone until next season, or they can be very powerful at driving sales when they're used, when they're true and they're communicated clearly to people. And remember, the goal of upselling is to make the customer experience better. That's the goal all along. What can you do to better serve your customers? Okay, deep breath. We have covered a lot in a short amount of time. Sometimes when I get excited about things, I talk faster and I really try not to. So hopefully I wasn't going too fast for you. Um, but we've talked about the power of curb appeal to create a better in-store experience, how and when to ask for the sale. Now it's time to take action. What do we do with this? We want to move the needle. We want to help your business bring more customers in, convert them into paying customers. So let's bring it home with just 3 simple, impactful steps that you can take this week to fix your funnel and set you up for a successful selling season. 1, you're going to audit your storefront from a customer's point of view. We talked about that. Walk past the door, coming from both directions, do it across the street. Take note of what might need to change with that, what might need to improve a little bit. Number 2, make sure your Google and social media profiles are up to date, especially if you're changing hours for the summer. If you're open an hour later, people need to know that so that they can come in and see you. And then number 3, you're going to talk to your team about asking for the sale and how to do that, how to do it in a genuine, caring way that doesn't seem spammy, right? Because that's not the goal at all. So this has been a lot, I know. And if your brain is buzzing with ideas, you are not alone. You should have seen me trying to put this together and narrow everything down a little bit. But one thing I created to help you, it's a free checklist, and it's the Downtown Business Health Checklist. And I created it for you to help you take everything that we talked about today and break it down into simple, manageable steps. And if you are, it's just a one-page guide, and it's designed to help you prioritize things and not feel overwhelmed. So if you're on your computer, you can scan this QR code with your phone to sign up. If you're on your phone, I will drop the link in the chat right now. So you can click on that and go to the sign up page. And what this does, this gives you the checklist will be delivered to your email as soon as you confirm your address. And then there will be a short follow-up email series to really help you stay focused and implement the changes that matter the most to you in your business. And with that, I am going to stop my screen share here. Hello again. I can see faces now. Um, and we have plenty of time for questions if anyone has one. Whether you want to put it in the comments or just unmute yourself and ask away.
I have a question. If
Yeah.
so you mentioned you found someone on your team to run your social media and things like that. Um, you know, did you give them like full permission to sort of just take over the account? And also just kind of thinking about like how to manage like paying someone for that extra thing, or was it just something they were really passionate about and they just were willing to do it? I mean, just kind of
Mhm.
trying to figure that part out because we do social media. It's very fun for us, but also like the time, like you said, it's burnout. It's like constantly doing it.
Mhm.
We're not always the person working in the store as the owner, getting those
Mhm.
pictures and, kind of, I guess, motivating staff to help participate, like just kind of
Yeah.
that process of,
Yeah. Yeah.
that would be
And
good.
yeah, and that was a lot of the struggle. So I've kind of designed my work that I do for the restaurant and the wine shop to be from home. And so for a while I had said, okay, I'll do social media, but you guys need to send me pictures. And nobody would send me pictures, right? And so that's why it didn't work for me to do it. But what happened, so the server, she has a photography business as well. So she's really good at photos and creating reels and stuff. And so the way we've set it up is um, we we pay her as an independent contractor for that work, and she and I work together to create kind of her boundaries within it. And I have her set up, I think on I think in Facebook business pages, I think it's called an editor. So I'm still the owner of the page, but she can go in and edit. And of course, I can go in and re-edit anything, right? I can take down things that I don't think are appropriate, which I've not had any issues with her. But it's really working on that communication process and that back and forth. And we met in the beginning to kind of talk about like um, a good pattern to follow to make sure that she was posting a variety of things, that it wasn't like all desserts at the restaurant, or it wasn't like all bar drinks, that we're really getting a range of everything. And then just really having that communication back and forth. Just, she'll say, how am I doing? Or if I see something that I really like, I'll text her and say, that was awesome today. I love it. If an idea pops in my head for something that she could share, I'll text her and say, "Hey, if this fits in the next couple weeks, let's try to add that in." So, so yeah, but we do pay her as a contractor. And side note, and I will say the official answer is that you have to talk to your CPA to make sure this is okay, right? But what worked for us, the reason that she can be a contractor and do this and be on our payroll is because the jobs are completely separate, right? She's a server on payroll. She's social media as a contractor there. They don't cross, they're not related. So that's how we can do that and have her kind of being paid two ways. the funnel slide. Yeah, let me go back to that. Let me see if I can do this again here. Share my screen, share that. So back to the funnel. Sorry, my computer is not wanting to cooperate here. Let me stop that and see if I can start over.
Can I chime in on something super quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
Allison's comment. And maybe we just took like a marketing class that our Main Street Lister is doing here locally. And you can actually program Chat GPT to speak in the tone that you want like your entire company to use. So that's like what we do here because I run 90% of our social media, but sometimes our executive director also does that. And that way our posts always sound and like they don't look the same because obviously the way I take a picture is different than he takes a picture, but at least like the tone is the same across the board.
And what do you put in to chat GPT do that magic? Just so
I actually have the entire prompt that you like program it to. Andrea, I don't know if I could like forward that to you and you can
Yeah.
share it out with
Actually,
the group.
yeah, one of the things that I'm working on is a half day workshop to teach people how to use ChatGPT as your personal assistant for social media. And it's amazing what output you can get when you put the right input in with it. Like Brittany was saying, you have to you teach it how you sound, and it's incredible. Tony, yes, this is being recorded. I don't know. This is a Lorna question though. Is it able to be sent out or is this just recorded for you?
We will post it on our YouTube page within a
Okay.
couple of days.
Okay.
So that anybody who missed today's presentation or who wants to go back can go back and do that.
Okay. All right. So Caitlin, I found my slide here. Let me go back and share again. And I lost it again. There it is. There it is. Okay. So there's the traffic funnel, moving people from awareness at the top where they've heard about you, but they don't really know anything else at that point, all the way down to action, which is making a purchase or coming back for a repeat purchase. Any other questions? Stop that share. Any ideas for new business to increase awareness? I think, of course, the social media, making sure that that is all up to date. Really leaning into your downtown or your Main Street organization and participating in any activities that they have going on, any special events that bring people into town. Making sure if your community allows a sandwich board sign to be out on the sidewalk, depending on your location, whether if you're right on Main Street in a high traffic area, to put it right outside your door. If you're like off to the side a little bit, see if you can move it a little closer to the corner. We have some businesses in Tip City that put their sandwich boards on the corner with a little arrow to kind of point people in the direction. So just really, I think one of the biggest things is making sure if there's something going on in town that you're open and that you have good signage around your window and giving people a reason to stop and notice you. You're welcome. Any other questions? If anyone, I'm going to pop my email address in the comments here. If you think of any questions when we're finished, feel free to email me and I'll get back to you and I am, this is a still a startup business for me. So I have a website, but there's nothing on it yet. I have not had a chance to do that, but that is coming. But I do have my social media. I'm on Instagram and Facebook. Um, and I'd love to have you follow me there. And like I said, email if you have any questions, anything else popping up here. Um,
I just have I don't know if it's necessarily a question, but
Yeah.
it could be. When it comes to, and I'm a Main Street director, when we have a lot of the events just in town, we've been trying to get the businesses to open up and put signage at the events and just really try to push people to the businesses. But we still have a lot of those merchants that are like, well, it's always in the square, and so I don't know if you have any quick advice of how we can communicate to them, like, we are really trying to get people there, but we cannot pull out their wallets and have them spend money. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
we still
Yeah.
get a little bit of that, but we have really been trying to emphasize, get out there and please shop and support local.
Right, right. So, just to clarify, are you saying it's the businesses that are kind of like not like right in that concentrated area that are
Even
struggling more, or?
the ones like within sight, they're like, well, everybody's down there and they don't want to come into my store. So I'm just not gonna even be open. And,
Mhm.
you know, sometimes you just have folks who just complain and not really try to do anything about it. And it's a struggle sometimes
It,
when you're in our position,
yeah.
really trying hard to help them, but you have to also help yourself. So.
Right, right. And I don't know if, kind of putting some things together so that you're not necessarily singling out like, hey, this is for you because you're complaining about this, right? Like make it kind of a general thing that you put out for your businesses like before big events and say, hey, here's some best practices to make the most out of this opportunity that you're being given with all this extra traffic in town. Um, One thing that I know Tasha is really good about with downtown Tip City is if we have an event that requires a registration or like a packet pickup, a lot of times we'll use the businesses that are not in the highly concentrated, like populated area of downtown for the registration to make people go visit those areas. Um, and that I think has been really helpful for a lot of them. But like you said, if you have somebody who they just want to complain, then they're never going to see the benefit of it. So hopefully the excitement of the businesses who are doing the work and are seeing the benefit will rub off to the point that they're like, oh, maybe I should try that because it might work.
Okay. All right, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other
Hey, this
questions?
is your last chance to go ahead and throw out a question or pick Andrea's brain. She's got 20 years of experience in this, so right. All right. Well, thank you so much, Andrea, for taking time to be on the
Yeah.
webinar today and to present this interesting information. Be sure
Thanks for
to
having
sign
me.
up for, be sure to sign up and get some other good information. You said there's a series of emails that will come out post
Mhm.
this. Okay, great.
Mhm.
All righty. Well, thank you, everyone. And I hope the YouTube channel is Heritage Ohio. So we'll get